welcome to Getting Gamers, your guide to understanding the gamers in your life. I am your host, Juke, and today I am joined by another dear friend. Oh my god, it's Geist Theory, right, that you're using? It's not Big Hall?
It is Geist Theory.
Okay, you're using Geist Theory.
Yeah,
okay.
Geist Theory will be fine. It's a bit more appropriate.
Why is the other one not appropriate?
Well, it is, but I mean for different reasons, right?
Oh.
I mean, I don't think smoking is exactly PG-13,
No,
but I
okay.
mean that's kind of where my second neighbor tag came from, was the fact that people were able to hear me smoking over the mics. So they call me the Big Hall Flickman because they could also hear myself flick through the mics while I was gaming. So that's where the second tag came to be. I'm not even joking.
Wait, can I keep that in?
Yeah,
Or no?
of course.
Yeah?
Of course.
I love that. Okay, so where does Geist Theory come from, though?
Geist Theory comes from like a long, long time ago where I was considering doing this weird boy band thing with a couple of guys at 12 years old. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have loved you in a boy band. Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's it. So we were just like, oh, what did we like at the time? And it was Linkin Park, and we loved Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park. And I felt like the Hybrid Theory kind of played on the mind and how psychological and societal things come in clash.
Okay.
So I was like, well, like, why not use that? But instead of Hybrid Theory, just call it like Mind Theory. But Mind Theory just seemed kind of a generic, so I was like, well, what's another language that has a really cool way of saying mind? And it was German with Geist, as in the poltergeist, but just mind being, Geist being mind. So I was like, guys, why not Geist Theory? And ever since it stuck, and that's pretty much it. Just love the ring to it.
So the boy band would have been called Geist Theory, and it would have been like Linkin Park style-ish?
It would have kind of been like a punk boy band, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wait, did you guys ever make anything?
No, not necessarily, but
man.
later on in my life.
I died for that.
Though, however, later on in my life, especially during the pandemic, I started recording music under that name. And
Really?
Yeah. And
Wait, how do I not know this?
How don't you know this, actually? That's a good
I'm
question.
like so musical. You do music? What do you play?
Bass.
Really?
Like 5-string bass, yeah.
What? Wait, 5-string bass.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. 5-string
okay.
jazz
4-string was not enough for you.
No. Not if I wanted to play some like metalcore or stuff like that.
So is the 5th?
Is a lower string.
Oh.
Yeah, to get deeper notes, we were able to do breakdowns a lot easier.
Yeah.
But then when the pandemic hit, I noticed we couldn't really jam anymore. So I bought myself a pedal board, and I composed music solely off of
like looping?
Yeah, looping, wah-wah, trebles.
I've always wanted to try looping.
It's awesome.
It looks so cool.
It's so much fun. And I had so much fun doing that, and because I didn't have any other musicians, I discovered a way to manipulate the bass for it to sound like more than just one instrument and just compose songs based off of a single instrument. Yeah.
You know, my brother has a recording studio if ever you want to like do some more music stuff.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket for sure.
Holy crap. Okay. This is so fun. Gosh, I love having my friends on this podcast. I learn so much.
Yeah, same here. It's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, wow. So the reason you guys clicked on this video and are probably also surprised to find out he's a musician is because Geist Theory here is also a game designer. Do you consider yourself a game designer? Because I know you've studied it, you work in it.
I don't know. I guess I do. I feel like the work I'm doing might be a little bit more general than game design.
Okay.
Do I consider myself a game designer? Maybe.
Okay.
I just know one thing for sure is that it's something I've been doing all my life, even as a kid, and not even realizing it. And I prefer not giving it a label because it doesn't feel like a job to me. It just feels like something that I do every day regardless. And I've been doing it since I was like a toddler, and
You would make up games when you were a kid?
Absolutely. I kept all my documentation from when I was a child.
Wait, you documented your games you made when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Because I made like tiny little games with my friends, but like I didn't document
most of
them.
it.
Oh my god, you were a little nerdy boy.
I
love it.
I had my old little sketches of little creatures and animals with their own descriptions, and I kept all of it. I was like, you know what? I feel like one day this might come into fruition. Yeah. And of course, it's not going to constantly remain like stupid little drawings that a toddler made, but it could be a way to perceive a universe that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, of course.
And at least my child mind stayed with me. physically so that I can maybe, inspire myself off of it and do something a bit more with it.
So as an adult, when you started getting into game design, your family was not surprised.
No, they weren't surprised. My mother always said, "Oh, I knew you'd do something artistic,
Okay.
So yeah, definitely. My father too. He was really lenient on my math grades because of it there. He was just
Oh
like,
yeah?
look,
They just knew.
they just knew.
Yeah. I was good in math, but I was bad in like a lot of other topics. And my parents were also very lenient on it because they all could tell that I was going to do something creative. I wasn't going to like be sitting at a desk.
100%, 100%. I could tell.
Oh my God, that's so great. Okay, so I wanted to start off because you studied game design, right?
That's right.
And I think that's a really interesting topic because this podcast being accessible to non-gamers and the goal here being helping people understand gamers. Often I see parents and partners too searching to help the gamers in their life like find themselves when, I'm not saying all gamers are finding themselves, just sometimes everyone goes through that phase.
Yeah.
And people forget to keep gaming and the concept of like things around gaming could inspire them, and people forget that. And I think studying in game design is something, before I met you, I didn't even consider I could study in game design.
Right.
And like I met you and you were designing a game, and then eventually you started game design, and it was only once you got into school. It wasn't even when you were designing a game that I was like, oh, that's a field. It's when you went to school that I was like, oh, wait, we can study that? Wait, no one told me that.
Yeah. I feel you. I didn't even know I was able to find like a perfect program, I mean.
How did you find it?
I found it because I initially did a bachelor's in interactive medias, which is kind of like me trying to search something in a communications and media department and just trying to slot myself into something that was able to take me at the time.
So interactive media is vague. It could be like animation as well as...
Yeah, well, that was what was unique about this program, is that it was so general that we actually touched upon a little bit of everything. We did procedural generative art. We did coding. We did animation. We did video to audio synchronicity with different types of projections.
Whoa.
And that's kind of the stuff we were doing at the time.
Okay.
But when I graduated, I just kind of still didn't feel fulfilled with what I did because a lot of it wasn't ludic.
Ludic, like joyful, fun.
No, ludic as in
playful.
play.
Yeah, play.
Yeah, we didn't do a lot of play. And that's something, for some reason, that bothered me a lot. And I felt like my studies weren't over at that time. And that's where I realized where I got to start looking for something that allows me to do game design, or like, create something that's ludic. Because to me, ludic interactions between people is one of the most important things in the world.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it just is what it is. It's evolved and changes as we grow. Sometimes it comes around to watching a film together or chatting and laughing about something together. But there's always a sense of play in doing that. And you just see that in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to me.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So that's when I started searching, and I got a DESS, diploma in narrative game design.
Okay.
And it was a 1-year program. It's like a preparation to a master's. So once I did that, I was like, yeah, this is the direction I got to take. I got to do that.
So narrative game design, because the way I see narrative game design, I immediately think of games that have narrators. Is that what that means?
Yeah, to a certain degree, it's games with narratives, with stories.
Oh, with narratives. Okay, okay.
Yeah, there are narrators.
Yeah, but it's not only narrators.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, defining what the narrator is in narrative game is extremely important. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what conveys how you see the world that the game designers are trying to show you, right? And that's something that we have to learn as well. Like there are 100 ways to tell the same story, but if you tell it with the different voice, a different narrator, it's a different game.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's another thing. But so that's what I studied, and I loved it. It was really how to create possible branches, like multiple possible branches through a story. Yeah. And then applying that to games and, living basically films.
So when I think that, I'm imagining that your classes were in some parts coding, in some parts arts like drawing and stuff, and in some parts storytelling.
Exactly. What was really cool about this program is that it took a lot of students from different kinds of fields. So everyone did like like excel in something different.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to code if we weren't obliged to code.
Oh.
Because most of the projects we're given is in the hypothetical. You guys are there to create the story of a game, pitch the mechanics, know how to speak to people about these mechanics. Do you get good feedback? Do you get bad feedback? Learn how to test where your prototype games went wrong. That's kind of what we did. And because we were such a mix of different kinds of fields, we always had someone to pick up the other's weight.
And build such a network.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. We had coders. Like most of the time I didn't code. At some point I decided to because I was like I want to learn this. And if there's one time to do it, it's probably when I'm getting evaluated to do it. So
yeah, of course.
All right, let's just do it anyway. I don't know how to do it. Would I prefer building the story? Yes.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay.
Once in a while, just to get your, to know what you're asking of your coder as well.
And everyone had their back. It was really, really cool. Like for the last semester of that program, I didn't focus on any class except for our final prototype project. And the people that were in my team for that class made sure to have my back on every other class just so that I could export a perfect prototype.
Wow.
So everyone was really close in that sense, and there was no like subjugating people for not doing enough effort in one because we'd always have each other's back on something else.
That is such like a not all programs build community in that way. Being someone who has started and dropped out of many programs, I can say that not all programs build community like that.
Yeah, it was a great experience. That was at the University NAD.
NAD?
Yeah, that was where we
Montreal?
did it. In Montreal, yeah.
I never heard of NAD.
Yeah, it's an organization that comes from UQAC, so from Chicoutimi, but they have a succursale here in Montreal, and that's where I went for a year.
Here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay. Yeah. So I think for a lot of people out there, finding out that coding not being like super required, or like if you're bad at coding, you can never do this program, that it's not that way. I think that's reassuring for a lot of people.
100%.
Wow.
I actually met somebody recently who was hoping to do game design, but was so scared to even apply because of that. And I was like, no, you got it all wrong. Like game design and game development is two different things. It is an asset to have both under your belt, but it's not required. Yeah.
That's and that helps me because one thing that Absinthe said in his episode on The Witcher is we were talking about games, and I said something about, the programming. And he said, no, not the programming, the game design. And in my mind, I was like, well, isn't that the same thing? But I didn't interrupt because we were talking about something else. But I wanted to ask you, but now I'm understanding that, no, I was completely like associating two different things, because game design doesn't have to be a video game.
No, it doesn't.
So obviously game design and programming is not the same thing.
No, exactly, right? Game design is not limited to video games, because there are things such as board games that came before it, and sports, and it took a game designer to think about the rules before you could even test it. So it doesn't really matter the medium. What matters is that game design focuses on the actual foundation of where everything else will be founded on. Right?
That is so true.
If someone didn't, for example, let's take something that's not a video game or a board game, but take something like a sport, like basketball. What did it take for the game designer to be able to realize that it takes a bouncy rubber ball to be able to play the game? If it was any other type of ball, would it still be the same sport? Right? So it takes designers to be able to do things like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's like an average day when you're studying game design?
An average day, I mean, this is maybe like biased because I've only had one perspective of a school, and it wasn't a 3-year bachelor's program either. It was a preparation for a master's. So it's very quick. Things get piled up really, really quickly because you only have about less than 6 months to finish your semester. Things...
It's like an intensive then.
It's very, very intensive. So you got like 5-6 classes, and everything's due at the same time, and you got like 4 months to do it kind of thing. Good luck. So that was it. Apart from that, the kind of classes that we had, it shifted between, like I mentioned earlier, learning how to pitch certain game ideas, how to deconstruct your idea.
I love that they learned how to pitch, because one thing as an adult, because I worked in sales a lot, but growing up and realizing that people are really not good at selling themselves in interviews and stuff like that, and that people actually do need, like, at least learning to sell yourself in an interview is like the minimum of like learning to sell or to pitch that people need to learn that they're missing out on. So that's great.
Absolutely. And another thing it taught me is that people, now that I'm in the workforce, is that people don't understand you right off the bat.
Yeah.
Something that's clear to you in your mind is not clear in other people's mind. And that's what this class helped a lot with, is like, well, how do I take my thoughts, deconstruct it into a PowerPoint and make sure that only the important information is left?
Yeah.
So that was part of it, right? So days of that, days of creating stories, days of creating different possible branches. So much fun.
I want to go study that now.
Yeah, you should. Everyone should. It's great.
Oh my God. Actually, wait, how long is it? How long is the winter? Can I do it during my winter break?
I'm pretty sure I did it during the winters. Yeah, you could do it. Yeah, you could get it done like
because I have winters off. Well,
just take it
off.
Oh yeah, you could do it
in
year.
Brackets. Oh my God. Okay.
1 year.
We're getting off topic. It's so fascinating. I love like story creation. For over a decade now, I've been like writing a book in my head and on bits of pieces and papers and files that I'm never like actually sitting down and writing the book. And then I got another realization about another book I wanted to write, and I'm like, but I have to sit down and fucking do it, you know?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Well, the board game that you might have mentioned actually with Absinthe, and we were talking about earlier that I made, was initially a novel that I was writing in my teens, and I just kind of kept it going. Never got to finish it, but it all started from all the same place. I was obsessed with this universe, and.
So do you think if that game, and I know listeners out there, we keep talking about this game and we're not defining it. Subscribe. There will be an episode about this game, but today is not the day. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
But do you think if ever that game does get picked up and people like really, really vibe with it, it becomes this whole community, would you write the book?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
I would definitely finish it. I'd refine it as well, because things do change over time. The way we think changes over time. So, I mean, it'll take a lot of reflection, a lot of looking back at what it was initially written, what has changed, what kind
Seeing
of...
how your board game, what became of your board game, how...
Yeah. But it's really hard to write that much information about something.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to describe things like combat. It's a very, very hard thing to make each combat sound unique. For example, on paper, written word, very, very hard. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's something that one of the books that I want to write has like inevitably in the story will have to have combat because of the type of like it's more in the fantasy world and like it's the baseline of it is a certain conflict that created everything, so that's one of the things that stresses me out because even in the I love Lord of the Rings and so many people that love Lord of the Rings, especially the people who like I vibed with in Lord of the Rings, one of the things that like they glorify, let's say, is the quality and the amazingness of the battle scenes, the big, huge war scenes.
Absolutely.
I absolutely tune out in most of those. And I love Lord of the Rings, but those are not my scenes.
Right.
Right,
exactly.
So, but like, even in that, I tune out. So having to write it is going to be a hell of a task. I can only imagine.
Like, imagine that. Imagine, having to write for someone like yourself, right, who tunes out on visually seeing fighting scenes. Yeah. How do I keep people like that interested during written fighting scenes and making it fresh and unique and like jaw-dropping every time is one of the hardest things. It's part of the reason why I kind of put it down.
Same. It's my procrastination is there too.
Really tough. It's really tough. It's not easy.
Oh, I love this. So I like this because I think so many people can relate to writing and making up stories when you're a kid. And so many parents can relate to their kid being so creative when it comes to like making up little fantasy worlds and stories and stuff like that. And I don't think a lot of them have game design in mind as a potential to. I love this. I love this.
Sweet. I'm glad.
Having studied in game design and now working in game design, how does like your daily tasks compare?
Well, I mean, when it comes to especially working for somebody else, I guess this goes for pretty much any I guess, any task, you got to really first and foremost be able to separate your biases on what you're working with, so that you could, still perform the tasks. There will be times where you're not necessarily the most keen or a fanatic of what kind of project you're working on. But I mean, especially when you're starting off, that's something you're going to have to train yourself to be able to do, is that your biases have to be put aside.
Yeah.
And be able to think, critically about what you're doing, and not emotionally.
Yeah.
Right. It's really, really important. So that's probably that's the biggest day-to-day struggle, is to be able to, take a breather.
Because they're not all your choices in the end.
No,
Someone
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the most important things they taught us even in school, is that, the game designers or designers are the worst critics of their own work.
Yeah.
That is a slogan that is should have been written on the school's walls, and it's so true, because no one will understand it like you will, but that's not the point. You're not only making games for yourself, or the fact that you're making games because you like making games, but you're making games for others.
Yeah.
So it's extremely important to take criticism correctly. Don't be biased about being, or feeling that you're, emotionally attacked or anything like that. It's really important to have a bit of a shell and be able to also use that information to your advantage, so that you can better the work that you produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I relate to that, because I mean, most people with their jobs end up like my cousin. I went to get my car detailed at JR Auto Spa, and he was giving me my car back, and he kept wiping down here and there, and I was like, bro, it's perfect. Like, and he's like, no, but he's like perfectionist in his task. Oh, shit. And even me, like as a landscaper, we're all a lot like many of us, obviously in any field there's going to be lazier people, but like many of us are going to be perfectionists about wanting it to finish it. And I had to teach myself to say, because certain decisions are not my decisions, right? I'm just the laborer. I'm not even the team captain, so I just had to keep reminding myself and telling myself, well, it's not my job site. Just because I'm working on this job site it's not my job site. So that was my thing of like reminding myself to like, okay, well, these decisions aren't mine to make, so it's okay, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's important. You're there to be part of a greater version of yourself. At the end of the day, you are hired. Now, this doesn't have to go with like private owned companies or things that are independent. I mean, you have complete creative control over that. But when you're working for an industry or a company, it's really important to have that mindset that you are working for something bigger than yourself. And, it's important to be able to take criticism correctly and make sure that the product comes out as good as it can be.
Yeah. Was it like, that community that you found with at the school that you were at and all that? Do you feel like it continued in working in game design? Does it have that vibe where it feels like everybody's like banding together?
Yeah, I do see that kind of banding together aspect. I think in any creative field you're kind of doing that. But I mean, even though I'm doing mostly game design at the moment, I'm not required to do game design in the studio that I'm in. I'm really more of a part of an immersive experience studio. Okay. So I don't really touch video games very much.
Okay.
Though I do touch other forms of media that require me to do game design. So designing the experience between the player and what they're seeing and what they're doing as well. Right.
So, but you said immersive experiences?
Yeah.
So that expands like further than necessarily.
Yeah, our studio works with AR. It works with VR. It works with.
Wait. What's AR?
Augmented reality.
And that's different than VR?
Yeah, VR would be virtual reality.
Just the goggles?
Yeah, which requires goggles that basically transforms the space you're in, but you stay stagnant.
Yeah.
Whereas AR adds almost like an overlay.
Oh, the floor pads and everything?
Yeah, to the real world. It's a little bit different, you know what I mean? So a lot of stuff like that. And also large scale projections where you can interact with, walls and stuff like that. So that's more what the studio leans towards than games. But I'm still on a few.
It's still gamified.
Yeah, for sure. What was really nice with them is that, they didn't really require a game designer, but they acknowledged that that's what I wanted to do. Let me come in and let me add that kind of flair to the experiences they're trying to present. So that was kind of nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, even though they're not, everything you've described I mean, to me, it sounds very much connected still to video games in my mind. But even if someone doesn't consider them video game related, they're still ludic.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. And
I
that's
think it
why,
still fits that.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, I just feel like I fit in because anything ludic is something I want to work on,
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah.
Oh my God. So, let's say I wanted to explain what you do to my mom, or my mom has worked with very techie people, and in very techie companies. So let's say my dad. Like, how would you explain it, or how do you explain it to people who really don't understand?
No, that's a really funny question to ask because that was exactly the problem that every single parent had with their children studying in interactive media.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, we do a little bit of everything, you know. What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, a little animation, procedural art. Like, what is that? But I mean, if we're talking for game design specifically, the best way I would describe it is we build games.
Yeah.
You know,
From storytelling to like mechanics.
yeah, and if you want to maybe try to explain it to like earlier generations, I'm sure everyone picked up a deck of cards before, you know, and you can ask them, you know, like, where do you think the rules of the card games you played came from?
Yeah, who came up with solitaire
Right,
and all that,
right.
and how did that come?
Yeah, exactly, right? So where did that come from? Oh, well, it came from maybe some dude or some girl who decided to, you know, make a game. I was like, well, that's
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, pretty much.
So that's probably the best way to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In simple terms. Yeah.
So would you consider it a more creative career or a more technical career, or both?
It takes a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends. Like we were mentioning earlier, how the narrator of the game changes the game, right? The perspective that you're plunging into this world with changes the way we'll see it, right? Or play it. So it is a little bit of both, right? You got to be creative in the sense that your mechanics that you build, the technical aspect of a game, has to reflect the universe in which the game takes place.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like a perfect example would be like, I don't know, if it has to do with a game that revolves around collecting things off the floor, for example. Well, you're going to make sure that in your mechanics, the technical game of it, it has to be in arm's reach, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're a flying thing and the game is still collecting, well, you don't want to have the things maybe on the ground anymore, but you want them maybe hovering in the air. So that's where the creative and the technical kind of start to merge.
Yeah.
Because it does have to reflect what we're trying to convey as a creative experience, an artistic experience, and how we make it feel that way.
Yeah. I can totally see that because it's like a stupid example, but there's this TV show called New Girl. I know your girlfriend watched it.
Oh, I
Did
love
you
it. I
watch
watched
it?
the whole
Okay.
thing.
So in New Girl, there's True American, the drinking game.
Yeah, of course.
And I was obsessed. But True American, the way they filmed it was really just they filmed chaos. There was no actual pre-made game in their mind. So they never, whenever people would ask for True American, they're like, we didn't create a game. We filmed pure chaos we gave them a directive idea, the floor is lava and this and that. And then we filmed it. And so my friend and I, years ago, over a decade ago, wanted to play True American. And so we tried to create True Canadian because, we're not going to support the US. And then having to figure out the rules of how do we make these rules? How do we make it so that we're like respecting the fact that it ties in politics, like the country's politics in the drinking game?
Right.
It was so complicated. It ended up being pure chaos when we tried playing it, and it ended up being mostly the floor is lava and get to a destination.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was fun, but it really made me I had to get faced with the fact that like, oh wait, making a game is way more complicated than I thought, and this was just a drinking game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's kind of funny because it's a great metaphor for politics being chaotic. So I mean, I think they did something right.
Yeah, they did great. So with that in mind, like how complicated to me anyways creating games are, do you ever, because when I'm like in landscaping, like if I look at someone's pavement, I'm seeing like the mistakes they made and how they built it and stuff like that. Like I'm seeing, things I know that other people don't know, like with many professions. So for you, like when you play a game, do you have those moments of like, oh, I know exactly how they made this?
Maybe not exactly how they make it. I do see games kind of like, cinema in a different way because of it, like how they how they film certain things, or and like in games, for example, why things are specifically done the way it is. I can't give it an answer, but I would sometimes look at it and be like, well, this could have been maybe done differently. And when that's the biggest issue also with like problems in games, is that when you start noticing it, it pulls you out of the experience.
Yeah.
It really sucks when that happens. But yeah, I mean, you definitely see the faults and things. You kind of see when things are a little bit rushed. But has become a very, very, very competitive domain right now. That it's really how fast can you pump out the next best thing, and sometimes quality gets
I guess you're noticing things
out.
are more rushed now.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be a nostalgia thing where, it's really hard to tell because, I mean, if I were to compare games that were, let's say, complete back when, when there was not this aspect of downloadable content, which extends or expands the game, when games were complete and just sold out of the box, they also felt complete.
Yeah, they couldn't get patched.
There was not any added, let's say, content to be able to, change the experience of the player. It was the experience, and I actually took a game design class even before I did game design at Concordia that introduced those those early terms and those types of games, right? And it was the whole aspect of game as a product versus game as a service. And that's kind of, people actually started analyzing this shift in games, and that there is a significant difference between what a game as a product is and game as a service, right? And maybe at first it was a way to captivate the attention of people to play over and over again, but have a different experience. So people keep paying for new content. The new content changes the way you play.
Yeah.
And that keeps going. But by analyzing that kind of behavior, you start to realize, well, hold on. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe people are demanding for more from the game.
Yeah.
So they stop making games complete, send out a new patch or a new content, see people's feedback on it, take that feedback, make something new, send it back out, and then you have this cyclical thing where you're playing the same game, but it's always different because of the content that you acquire.
Yeah, and in the end, video games, like anything, is a business, and business is all about supply and demand. So they also don't have a choice to adapt at a certain point.
For sure.
But before I forget, we mentioned patches. For people out there who don't know what a patch is, it's like an update that they're gonna make to the game, because now most games you buy them online and you can play online and stuff like that. So they can just send an update to the platform that you got the game from, and so the next time you want to open the game, it tells you, oh, it needs to update. You update it, and you get like new characters sometimes, or sometimes the power of a character will change. Like this will affects so much within a game, the patches, that competitions will be timed with upcoming patches and stuff like that to make it fair. Because it really can impact a lot and it changes a lot. Whereas before, when we were kids, games were physical. You could not change the game once you had it.
That's right.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about like the flaws and how you're noticing like things are rushed and stuff like that. But is there like a game that like in your game design brain that you're like, that is a good game design? Other than your wonderful game.
Yeah, thank you. I love playing video games. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't think I'm ever gonna hate video games. No. It's been so intertwined with my life that I don't think I'd be the same without them. I think the shout outs I have to do would probably be just Legend of Zelda in general.
Oh yeah.
That and
that has a huge community.
Yeah, that was a huge impact on just the way I saw games.
Yeah.
And another game that made me a little bit later in my life, and I hate myself for playing these games so late, but I had the perfect excuse because I was off of work for a month. I had COVID and I just couldn't leave the bed.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to finally do this. And I played all 3 Batman Arkham games back to back. And I don't think I've ever had such a nostalgic feeling playing a game before.
Really?
Than those games.
I must admit, you must be the first person to talk to me about the Batman video game.
Yeah, it's hard not to mention those games. I mean, it's definitely my top 5. Am I a DC fan? Absolutely not. Was I a DC fan after the game? Absolutely yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Oh
100%.
wow.
It felt like the perfect balance between open world, suspense, crime, superhero.
Wait, Batman, the games were open world games?
Well, I mean, it was more of a sandbox game, but you had access to all of a section of Gotham when you played. And
Oh.
the maps just kept getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, you were able to free roam
Wait,
in the world
okay.
they gave you.
So, just in case, because I have recorded an episode where, no, I have not yet recorded the episode where I define open world and sandbox. Open world has been defined in a few episodes, but sandbox, um, I want to make that distinction. I have it in my notes. So just to compare properly a sandbox versus an open world typically refers to like map size and accessibility. Sandbox is going to imply more creation. It refers more to mechanics. That's kind of what I got. Do you agree with
Interesting.
that?
It's hard to really pinpoint exactly what is what. I mean, I get the aspect of a sandbox being something that you can mold, right? Because when you're in a sandbox as a kid, you can mold the sand.
Yeah.
But I mean, where I would put more focus on is that it limits the space of play.
The sandbox.
Yeah, the sandbox
Versus an open world.
Right, right.
Oh,
Because
yes. I
if not,
love that.
because if not, it would be why wouldn't it be called a beach game or a
Yeah.
beach sand
Or, yeah.
game? You know what I mean?
No, I like that analogy. It's
that-
the box. Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, it could be an open girl. Oh my God, an open world. Oh my God, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. It could be an open world game. I mean, in my mind, within a sandbox.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day,
Like Minecraft. Minecraft is both.
yeah, exactly. But the game just keeps self-generating, you know, and it feels like it goes on forever. But at the same time, it is a sandbox game because you can, mold the things that are in it.
Yeah.
Where I might have confused the terms for Batman because you can't exactly mold the world around you, but you have this open space of play where you can, just free roam and walk around and catch criminals and
See,
all
now
that kind of stuff.
I'm way more interested in Batman because I watched like the series. I don't remember on which platform it is, but you get to see Penguin, you get to see the detectives.
Oh, you see it.
And I love that series.
Yeah.
And the idea of a game where I can roam that city and meet certain characters and from what I remember of like open worlds and stuff like that, you do have more freedom. You're less like forced to do this or that. That is way more interesting to me because if you tell me about Batman video game, my brain, my biases obviously, immediately gives me like a generic, level-based game where a superhero, like almost like a copycat of Mario Brothers, but with a superhero instead.
Okay, right.
Like that's where my brain goes. I don't know why that my brain went there, but it sounds. I'm so intrigued now.
It was ahead of its time when it came out. I think the first one came out in like, don't quote me on this, but I think like 07, 08.
Oh.
And it was just ahead of its time when it came out, and like that was Arkham Asylum, which is not exactly my favorite one, but it was a good introduction to the world of Arkham. But then the two other ones started becoming like massive scale free roams, and you get to, throughout the narrative, you get to meet all of these great villains that we love, and you see them under a different light compared to just watching it in a film.
Yeah. Oh, that is fun. That is exciting to me.
Incredible game, honestly. Highly recommend. It's the best, and it's always on sale for PC gaming. You could get all 3 games for like $6.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm definitely, I keep saying that. People talk to me about games on this show and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to check it out. But then when I'm home, I'm never in the mood to game.
For sure.
But I'm actually genuinely interested. So if ever I do get the mood to game, I will think about that.
Highly recommend.
So in your journey at this point of like, designing your game, studying in game design, and now working in interactive media, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, what's like the coolest moment so far? Would it be like that whole banding together that you had at school, where everybody was like supporting you, or is there like a cooler memory in there.
There is a cool. I love working with people. I've always I've just got out of the restaurant industry for 10 years, so like
Yeah.
interacting with clients and being able to create an experience just kind of like has already been trained
Yeah.
in me. So that's just something I really love to do. Um, However, would I say it's the most interesting part? It would probably be the second most interesting
Okay.
part. I think the most interesting part right now is the liberty to be able to brainstorm something, bring it back to the team,
Mm-hmm.
get it reviewed, talk about how it could be changed, be like, oh, I didn't think about that. Let me, let's change that. So it's really the act of being able to have the freedom to do something and present it to someone and then give feedback to make it better. I think that
Yeah.
is like the most fun part of the job.
I could totally relate to that.
Mm.
Like, I think one of the harder parts for me in this podcast, let's say this project of
Mm-hmm.
mine, is the solo aspect to it, especially when I'm brainstorming episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I love brainstorming and bouncing my ideas off people and stuff like that. And then when you're like sitting alone with your notebook and brainstorming on your own, you're like, okay. And then you're like trying to think of like, which friend am I going to bother with this one today?
Oh my
Because you
god.
can't always go to the same person. They're going to get fed up. They're going to be like, I'm not on your team, you know?
I don't know you.
Yeah.
Take your coffee and leave.
That would still be me. Or like talking to the barista for way too
Oh my
long, and then
God.
they're like, "You have to go."
Yeah. It's $2.99. Please pay and go.
I promise I'm not actually like that. Oh my
But yeah,
god.
that's definitely it, and that's probably the I'd say the funnest part. I mean, it was just like thinking back a few years ago and being like, my dream job, even though it seems like nothing, would be just like being part of a think tank and like thinking of the ideas,
Mm,
bouncing those ideas off somebody else, refine them, put them onto paper, and then work on something. Like as a kid, that's all I ever wanted to do, and I was just like, is that even real? Is that even a thing?
mm-hmm.
How can you get paid for just thinking of things? But
Yeah.
when you have that plus the community to be able to critique it and make
Yeah.
it better, it starts to become something more than just action. There's
Yeah.
something more to it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you that you found that because like it
Thank you.
sounds so great.
Thank you.
Oh, and for other people out there who want to find something like this, do you, in your opinion, do you think you absolutely need the school to work in game design?
Uh, I mean, that's a tough question to answer. Right? It could go either ways. You can get very lucky,
Hmm. True.
or very unlucky in both circumstances, whether you have the degree for it or not. It's like entering in cinema. You know what I mean?
Mm,
I think
yeah.
it's probably harder for cinema to get you to a higher level. Like you got to know people
Yeah.
for starters and be able to talk to the right people. That's kind of what happened to me. If it wasn't for that, I don't think I'd still be working in restaurants today.
And the knowing people and meeting the right people, was that because you went to school?
Not even.
No?
Not even. I think I might have, the way I did it, I might have got to the job even regardless of the fact that I was going to school
Okay.
for
Was
it.
it through Pre-Terra? Was it through your game then?
No,
Wait,
it was through talking to somebody who knew somebody from this company, and
Oh
they
my
said, "Here's
god.
the LinkedIn. Why don't you give it a shot?" And I gave it a shot,
What?
and that's it. I mean, I did have the resume to back it up.
Yeah.
I had interviews with him as well, and it it worked out in the end. And then I got an internship, and I was made sure that I performed so that I'd
Mm-hmm.
be able to get this. And it wasn't even game design I was doing when I first started as an intern. It was just there to, I guess, test me and prove myself that I was able to do this kind of work. And that's how I got a permanent job. But like I said, it could be luck until your foot's in the door. When your foot's in the door, it's completely on you at this point. But anything before that right now is a very hard time to get into the game industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think you need or eventually might go get the master's?
I don't think I will.
No?
No, I don't think so. I think I'd be able to maybe
So once
push my
you've
way
got your
through.
foot in the door, you feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. And I really don't want more education to take
More time.
precedence over work.
Yeah, experience.
Yeah, for sure. So
at this point, I think the experience.
yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, like everything else, you will learn on the fly. I mean, your vision's a little bit more narrow. But I mean, it's only as narrow as you make it. If you want to learn things, you could always find this information without having to pay for it at school.
Yeah.
So if you want to broaden those horizons, I mean, that's always a decision you can make. But I wouldn't necessarily go back to school to learn more.
All right.
Yeah.
No, okay. So in that case, like, if someone's trying to go on that path, right? If someone wants to get into the industry, do you have any advice for them?
To get in the industry, just, you know, keep making games. If it's for yourself, it's for friends, you know, just hone that skill. Make sure you're ready to take some criticism as well. And you know, and take them with a grain of salt. You know, put yourself out there, talk to even people you don't know and let them play your games.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, you just want to make something, bounce these ideas off people, get thrown in the mud if it doesn't work, and try to make it better.
Yeah, and on that note, for the listeners out there, a bit of lore on our friendship. We met because you were making a board game.
Actually, yeah. Completely forgot about that. It's true. I feel like I've known you forever.
I know, but because now we see each other every week.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I come to their place every week, but I heard and like got wind of you. Well, I mean, sometimes at gatherings because of absence, here and there. Yeah. But I started coming to those gatherings more after meeting you at a game test.
Yeah, exactly.
That absence invited me to.
Yeah, you know, and like, you know, I'm not gonna say that the game became as successful as I wanted in the moment, but just meeting you and, you know, making sure that I did it in a public space, right? Mm-hmm. I decided to, you know, call the boutique, the game boutique. Can I reserve these tables to do play tests? You know, my apologies. If you know, if that means I have to pay a certain fee or something, I know that we're not playing any games that you guys are selling, but I'd love to do this in a public space to accommodate more people, and, you know, just kind of show it off. Maybe people that were passerbyers would be like, you know, what is that?
And people stopped at our table a few times to ask questions and take pictures and stuff like that, because it was like quite impressive, the game on the table.
Yeah, the scale of it kind of really helps its attraction. That's kind of something I was debating about removing from that game, but I was like, oh, you know what? There's something attractive about like building your own map and all that. And anyways, just to put it brief there, just the fact that I was started doing things in open spaces, you know, just kind of gave me a bit more of that incentive to listen to people's feedback and critiques. And
okay, I'm sorry, listeners. There's someone like attacking the railing in the stairways down next to us.
Oh my god!
Like, all I hear is the ping bang.
Oh yeah, Uncle Sam, is that you?
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
That's okay.
But no, it was a really smart move having it in an open space. And another thing that Geist Theory did when they were creating games is they were building themselves a network too. Like you went to what are they called? Conventions, board game conventions or something like that?
Yes,
like,
we did the same kind of concept, not only in a little game boutique, but I decided to go to one of the biggest board game conventions in North America. Yeah. In Canada, excuse me, called the Breakout Convention in Toronto.
Okay.
And that's where I really put my money's load on like an exhibitor's table. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they catered almost 500 people, even more, for 3 days straight. Just other people with board games, bigger companies, smaller companies, and just people that love games. And they'd all come together. So I did rent an exhibitor's table to be able to do that. Now, that's when I started a Kickstarter to be able to you know, try to promote the game, which unfortunately wasn't successful, but it's a lot harder than it seems. And in doing so, I was, you know, faced with a lot of critique as much as a lot of, you know, positive feedback.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point of it. You know, I feel like I made my money's worth regardless.
Yeah.
Doing the convention really kind of gave me a bit more rough skin, and it shows really how competitive the you know the domain of games really is, because there's a lot of expectations when it comes to what people are looking for in games, right?
So were people like snooty?
What is that?
Like not like I don't even know if that's the word actually, but like snobby about it. They were like they did like recognize that you were like an independent, small, and were like,
Well,
like super judgy about it?
well, I mean, they weren't judgy about the fact that I was super small because let's face it, I was literally glued between two guys that have like mascots
No.
and like
Oh, come on.
perfectly foiled cards and
That's not fair.
signs, and I was there with a mini projector and like a white tablecloth of both of my games on there.
That's not fair. Why did you get flipped?
Well, that's what they said, and I said I'm cool with it.
Okay.
You know, I'm cool with it. It might even attract people to my kiosk
True,
because at
'cause
the
they're
end of the
passing in
day,
between.
I'm right next to them, right? So I think the word you were saying we wanted to say was snobby. I
Yeah.
mean, it really depended on who it was. I noticed actually that the game, because it had so many different kinds of components and stuff, a lot of kids were actually really, really curious about it. So there's a lot of color, a lot of like kind of cartoon imagery, and there were a lot of components that you can feel like kind of like action figures, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So got kind of good feedback on the actual appearance of it.
Yeah.
I had some people also in their 40s and their 50s as well being like, this is kind of cool, even through a mobile device that is played with the game. You know, there's a lot of collectibles. It was super cool how there's a bunch of things that could happen at the same time. And then on the other spectrum, it was like, well, I didn't recognize, I don't understand what I'm doing. Why did you decide to do it with a mobile app instead of just keeping a traditional board game? Like, it doesn't speak to me. So
Yeah.
it makes you have a harder skin and makes you think twice about your design. And that's kind of what game design is all about, because if I wasn't ready to hear that then, I don't think I would have been ready to hear that in a workplace where you're there with professionals, especially where I'm working. I'm working with people that are in their 60s, their 50s, their 40s. There's barely anyone my age. I'm 29. So like, people with a bunch more experience, like it definitely helps me shed like a soft skin and be able to like, kind of take the feedback and be able to understand what I could do differently, and also to be able to figure out what the target audience is for certain games.
Yeah, because not everyone's going to like your games.
Exactly. You know, and I don't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
But having to accept that, like, the people who don't like the mobile aspect of your game, well, then the game's not made for them because it's one of the coolest aspects in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I thought so too.
Yeah, when I was in school, when I first heard of your game and going to play tests and all that, and when I would talk about it with the guys at school, they were always like, they found it so cool that like, because they had never heard of something like that,
Yeah, exactly, right. But a lot of the critique that I had about the mobile app is like I didn't come to a board game convention just to keep looking at a screen.
Oh,
because I do this at work. So you got to hear these people rant.
Yeah.
And some people, and that's kind of where I kind of like broke my cool at some point, is that some guy was trying to explain that to me almost angrily.
Ugh.
And not looking at me in the eyes.
Then go to another table. And
Yeah,
he wasn't looking at you?
No.
So he was doing what? Looking at the table?
He was just looking down and
ranting at you.
Yeah, so I asked him, like, why can't you just tell me that to my face? And he stuttered and left.
Yeah, well, come on. If you're going to rant, like, man up about it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's two sides to that coin. There's one that, vengeance is sweet, but on the other side, was that really something that I should have said when it came to clientele service? Like I had a certain kind of expectation about me to be there and be able to present and make the entirety of the convention a pleasurable and safe space. And I guess by speaking my mind in a way that was almost, putting somebody down might have been the wrong approach.
I mean, yes and no, because I understand the whole like clientele approach, but also like he was not, it wasn't like this guy who was raving about your game and couldn't look you in the eyes, and then you told him, "Look me in the eyes, bitch." No, he was ranting, and he didn't even have the balls to look you in the eyes. And I'm sure you weren't like that rude about it. You don't seem like the rude.
No, I can't. I can't start conflict with people. Like it's just not me. So like when that came out of me, I was like, was that really the right decision?
I think it was, because as a society, we are, for a long time now, have been stepping away from the client is always right. Because a client is always right has created Karens. And society, we like as a society, we have been pointing that finger a lot, and we have been more and more vocal about the client not being always right, and we've been vocal about it, and it's been helping bosses understand that they have to protect themselves and the health and the ambiance of the workplace, right? The restaurants that say we reserve the right to not serve you, and all those places, and in that situation, that you were reserving the right to not serve that client.
Yeah, 100%.
You are allowed to protect yourself, even though you're like the boss and not an employee. Everybody's allowed to like have some self-respect.
Yeah, that's you know what, that's good to hear. I actually didn't even know about those about that type of legislation, but I mean, I guess so. Yeah, it was a bit much. You know, I think that was the one real time I went overboard, because the next day I had like, you know, two other players at the table, and they played for about 15 minutes, and both of them just disagreed of how the design worked. You know, and
The
I was
two
like,
of them?
yeah, both
Together?
of them. No,
Or
it wasn't a debate.
They
It was,
disagreed with you together?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I was like, well, since you guys are seated, like, can you actually just like give me like notes of what didn't make sense to you? You know, like,
Exactly. It's
why
a
does
perfect
this
situation where their input was valid
exactly
versus that other person.
exactly. It's really important. You know, I mean, once again, it will never be a perfect game. No game will be a perfect game.
No.
Right? Because you know, you got to first be able to understand how it works for it to even be played. You know, and that's why there's such a class with, you know, older generations and newer forms of media, is like the time is not there to learn how, or even the capacity to learn how.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another thing. You know, you got to really know how to and who you're trying to target when you're building a game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, so like living all of this and like your brain and expanding on game design and everything, is there a game that like exists that you like would love to work on or redesign?
Oof, never thought of that actually. Like a game that's already exists, or more like a game that's coming, or
What game you know of?
I mean, that's really hard to answer. I mean, like,
Really? There's not a game that you're like, I would have loved to be on that team.
oh, okay, like a game that I played that I would love to create. Oh, okay. Honestly, I'd say anything Nintendo. I personally would love to. Yeah, Nintendo's my life. Like, honestly, yeah, the whole PC gaming aspect is quite new in my life, because I've always ever owned Nintendo consoles.
Oh, so no PS, no Xbox.
No, I have a PlayStation 1 behind me, but that's like from 1996. It still works. It still works better than most consoles today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because even me growing up, I think we had PS3. Like my stepbrother. Not
Yeah. No, I got the first generation PlayStation, and it still works perfectly.
I love that.
Even when it tells me this game console is broken, please return it to its manufacturer, all I have to do is click reset, and it still works.
Amazing. We definitely don't have that.
We
type
don't
of
have that
quality
anymore.
No.
But I mean, if it had to do with like working on a game, it would probably be anything Nintendo. And if I had to be specific, as much as I think Legend of Zelda is definitely my like pinnacle of the best types of game, I'd say I'd love to work on a Metroid Prime game.
Metroid Prime.
Absolutely. The whole sci-fi first-person action, it's puzzle. You're on distant planets, remote planets. You can scan all of the biomes to like learn about its lore. You know, find creases in the walls that you didn't know was there and could only get there with certain types of weapons, which gives you access to new secret rooms, and then just learning how old civilizations have lived in those planets. I think that would be like my go-to team.
And Metroid Prime is old, no?
The original Prime came out in 2001, I believe, or 2002.
Not as old as I thought.
Yeah, Metroid itself came out a long time before that, but that was made as a like a platformer. Okay. A side-scrolling platformer, kind of like Mario, but it's kind of niche as a platformer, which came to be known as Metroidvania games, because Metroid and Castlevania both share very similar mechanics. Therefore, the genre Metroidvania came to be.
I've seen Castlevania. It was not something that interested me.
Yeah, it's a different type of
It's like
universe.
tiles that you move, no?
Not
Am I thinking about the wrong
necessarily.
thing?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Castlevania is like this. It's a side-scroller game where you can always come back to the places you were before. And as you progress, you have certain items that allow you to unlock things that you couldn't have done previously. So you're given like one big map. It's a side scroller, but you got a big map and you always have to like find a certain item, go back to places you've already visited to unlock certain doors or access points that you couldn't do beforehand. Now, the difference between Metroid and Castlevania is that Castlevania takes place in a more vampiric fantasy universe, and Metroid is like hardcore sci-fi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just quickly, because we said side scroll a few times, and that's a word I've been missing when I've been trying to define things. So I'm just going to define side scroll real quick because it's pretty straightforward. Everybody knows what scrolling means. Side scroll, when you're thinking about a 2D game, you're often moving from left to right. And the further you move right, the game like automatically scrolls right so that the map keeps going forward, which is to the right. Most of the time.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that's
pretty much it. Yeah, but in the case of Metroidvania style games, you can always go to the left as well.
Yeah.
The camera just follows you.
I've never played a side scroller that you could go back.
Yeah, that's what made it really popular and unique. That was a bit before my time, so I never really caught the train with like earlier Metroid games. But the Metroid Prime series are all first person shooters. You still play as Samus Aran there with the kind of like a gun on her hand. And you see everything through her visor, and you basically just do the same kind of concept, but in a 3D space.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I would definitely want to work on a team like that.
That sounds awesome. I didn't expect, because it is still quite an older game. For 2001 is an older game.
Well, they just released their newest Metroid Prime game this year.
Oh.
Metroid Prime 4.
So it's still going.
Yeah. We've been waiting a long time for 4 to come out.
Okay.
But it finally was released this year.
Amazing. So before we end this episode, is there like anything about game design that you feel like I haven't asked about that you want people to know, or about your journey that you think people should know?
Oh my God, that's a good question. Something that we haven't spoken about for game design.
Or maybe a misconception people have?
Well, I mean, I think we spoke a little bit about the misconception of it being like, is it creative? Is it technical? I think I would put a bit more weight on that, saying that it's really both. And you have to be able to adapt and be flexible with the creative concept of the game before you can propose the technical aspect for something to work. Yeah.
Oh, would you call it a welcoming community?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Oh,
at least where I work.
Yeah. And in your school too, from what I'm gathering.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. We actually had a lot of students from France and Switzerland in our classes more than anything else. Yeah. I mean, it is a French university.
Yeah.
But we took a lot of people from abroad in our classes, and it was awesome because it was also another point of view. Yeah. Of how games are made, right? Working with people that came from Montpellier, which is where the original Ubisoft, the French Ubisoft, is. Oh, not the original; it's Montreal, but one in Montpellier, and they are very proud people for, especially gamers over there, and game designers are proud people because they worked on Assassin's Creed and big franchises, like that, So it gave a different perspective on games as well, and how people there also think about how making games come to be.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. An open mind. That's the main key.
Yes, always. I preach an open mind so much on this podcast and in my life.
Well, there you go. It's important.
Like, people out there, really, like, if you're looking for yourself, or if you're a parent of a gamer or a partner of a gamer who's like searching for themselves, think about it, man. If you're at home torturing yourself because you don't know what to do with your life, might as well try out game design. Or you said there was a class at Concordia. Maybe try to audit that class before checking out if the program interests you or if that world interests you. And try making out games and work on your network, because that's what I've noticed in Geist Theory's experience is working on his network. Led him to great experiences. So, yeah. So for this week's person that we're plugging, did you have anyone in your life that you wanted to plug? Or yourself?
I would definitely plug where I work now, Behavior Interactive, for giving me that opportunity, that chance.
Yeah.
Something I never thought I'd be able to do if it wasn't for them just being able to give me that that chance to
That's so nice.
show myself. So
all right, well, let me get their socials then. We'll plug Behavior Interactive. So Behavior Interactive's website is bhvr.com. On Facebook, you can find them by searching for Behavior Interactive or using @behavior_interactive. They have a YouTube channel. Oh, of course, because it's interactive media. Oh, I'm going to check that out.
They have a lot of fun new trailers coming out for upcoming games. That's going to be quite awesome.
Oh, I'm definitely going to check out I didn't even think about checking out their YouTube. Of course, they have a YouTube channel. So that's @Behavior Interactive or just Behavior Interactive as well. And finally, for their Instagram, that's going to be @behavior_interactive. So thank you so much, Geist Theory, for being on this podcast.
Thank you very much.
And listeners out there, until next time, GG.
GG's.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Our podcast art was made by the wonderful Ariel, who can be found on Instagram @ProfitOpossum, and our intro and outro music was made by David Pestian from PestianStudios.com.
Job's done.